Clouds float over Elder Lane. A soft wind moved gently through the tall grass lining Elder Lane, brushing each blade as though whispering a secret only the earth could hear. The cobbled path stretched long and narrow, winding through a quiet village where time had slowed to the rhythm of the clouds above. They floated, lazy and low, like soft white boats drifting across a pale blue sea. Elder Lane was not a place of noise or hurry. The houses along its edge stood still, built of smooth stones and worn wood, with shutters that creaked softly when the breeze kissed them. Flower boxes rested beneath every window, filled with trailing ivy, pale lavender, and sleepy white blooms that only opened when the world was at peace. A cat dozed on a doorstep, curled into itself like a comma at the end of a gentle sentence. Its ears twitched now and then, but it did not wake. Further along, an old iron lamp post stood crookedly, leaning just enough to make the warm light it held fall in a soft, slanted glow across the stones. You walk slowly, your feet making almost no sound. Each step feels lighter than the one before, as if the lane itself is lifting you into its stillness. The soft tapping of your footsteps on the stones blends into the rustle of leaves and the distant cooing of a dove hidden among the branches. There is no place to be. No time pressing in from the edges. Just this lane, this moment, and the way the clouds above seem to follow your pace, never rushing ahead, never falling behind. They float like memories you don't need to name. Somewhere far off, a wooden chime sings once, carried by the breeze. Then silence again, the good kind of silence, full of space, of softness, of air. The scent of Elder Lane is clean and quiet. A mix of earth after a light rain, of chamomile tea left cooling on a porch, of sun-warmed wood and faded paper. Breathing feels easier here, like the air understands your tiredness. Outside the small window, the stars turn ever so slightly, like a mobile above a cradle. Their light does not shine, it rests. It waits. It sings in silence. You lie down on the rug. It is soft, impossibly so, as though it were spun from dreams themselves. You pull a blanket over your shoulders. You do not remember where the blanket came from, but it fits perfectly, warm but weightless. Your eyes close. Not in decision, but in arrival. You've arrived. To stillness. To slowness. To the place where thought ceases to matter and presence becomes everything. Outside, a single owl calls once, low and distant, as though honoring the final turning of the night. Inside, your breath slows. Your heartbeat softens. And the fog wraps the cottage once again. You are nowhere. You are everywhere. You are Elder Lane. And the clouds, the ever-floating clouds, drift above, never asking, never needing, only being. Like you? At last. The bench beneath you fades from sensation, not because it vanishes, but because you no longer need to notice it. You are supported. Held. Everything is exactly where it should be, and nothing asks for your attention. The world is soft. You are softer still. Around you, the fog begins to glow, not brightly, but with the hush of moonlight filtered through silk. It clings to the water, lingers in the curve of tree roots, dances low between the blades of dew-damp grass. It does not blur the world, it cradles it. You rise again, though it feels as though you are carried. Your feet move without resistance, each step quieter than the one before. The path no longer leads you, instead, you and the path move together, in agreement, in rhythm. Ahead, the trees part once more, revealing a lantern hanging from a crooked post. The flame inside flickers golden and slow, swaying gently without wind. As you near, it casts a soft ring of light on the ground, illuminating an old wooden sign. Elder Lane. No beginning. No end. Just home. You reach out and touch the sign, not to read it, but to feel the worn grain of wood, the tiny grooves left by decades of quiet weather. It welcomes your touch, as if remembering it. Nearby, another cottage appears. This one even smaller than the last. Its door is ajar, the hinges wrapped in ivy, its roof softened by moss and age. You step inside. There's no furniture. No shelves. Only a rug, a few candles, and a window facing a quiet patch of stars. You sit on the floor. The silence here is different, not deeper, not quieter, just more whole. You hear the beat of your heart again, slow and sure, syncing with something ancient. A pulse beneath the floorboards. A lullaby older than language. From the pocket of your coat, or perhaps from the air itself, you pull a folded scrap of paper. No writing on it. Just a scent, and a memory, and the feeling of something left unfinished in the most peaceful way. You let it go. You stay seated for what could be minutes or hours. The difference fades quickly. When you rise again, your body feels lighter, as though your bones have remembered how to float. You move through the cottage without sound, brushing your hand against the curve of a wooden wall, running your fingers along the shelves lined with feathers, stones, dried petals, and small folded notes. You open the back door. It leads into fog. Not cold, not wet, just present. It wraps around you gently, the way steam rises from tea, the way music fills a room. You walk forward, and though you cannot see more than a few feet ahead, you are not afraid. You have been here before, not here exactly, but in the feeling of it, the quiet certainty that something is watching over you, even if you never see it. The fog parts slowly, revealing a stone bridge arched over a silent stream. The water moves like silk, dark and endless, with no beginning nor end. You step onto the bridge, and the stones beneath your feet are warm, as if they have stored sunlight from a day that never came. You pause at the center of the bridge, looking down at your reflection. But it is not your face you see, it is the story itself. Not written in words or told in voice, but held in water, in air, in sky. You watch as it flows past you, and you feel no need to capture it. It will return when it wishes. All stories do. A small bench waits at the other side of the bridge. You sit again. Of course you do. Sitting has never felt so complete. So finished, and yet ongoing. You rest your elbows on your knees. You tilt your head back. You breathe. And somewhere, just barely, you hear the sound of clouds moving. Not the wind. Not thunder. Just the soft brushing of sky across sky. You close your eyes once more. And you drift. Not because the story has ended, but because it has become a part of you. Like the moss beneath your feet. Like the fog wrapped around your shoulders. Like the clouds floating, still, over Elder Lane. Everything waits. And you drift, not toward an ending, but into the softest part of the beginning, again and again, with every breath. You are where you are meant to be. And Elder Lane, with all its hush and shadow and light, cradles you, until the next dream takes its turn. The teacup in your hands has cooled slightly now, but you don't mind. Its warmth still lingers in your palms, like the echo of a kind touch. The fire before you shifts slowly, orange fading to soft red, each ember settling deeper into the ashes with a sigh. Outside, the fog has grown so thick that the world beyond the window no longer exists. There is no path, no trees, no sky, only light and softness, blending until even direction becomes irrelevant. In this moment, you are not moving through the world. The world is moving around you, gently, reverently, without edge or effort. The chair rocks just slightly, creaking like a memory. You don't remember when you began to rock. Perhaps it was always swaying, even before you sat down. Or perhaps the cottage itself is rocking, like a boat on a still lake, floating in a dream no one dares to wake. You close your eyes. And yet you still see. The fire's glow dances behind your lids, and the fog presses softly against the house like a sleeping animal curled around it. Your breath is slower now, deeper. Each inhale brings weightlessness, each exhale, a little more release. Somewhere in the house, a clock ticks. Not loudly, not urgently, just gently, as though it's counting something older than time. And somewhere else, perhaps in a room you haven't seen yet, someone has left a journal open on a wooden table. The pages flutter faintly as if turned by the breath of the house itself. If you were to read it, you'd find no plot, no dates, no chapters, only fragments. Half-remembered dreams. Sketches of clouds. Names of birds. Recipes for silence. Directions to places that don't exist on any map, but always find their way to you in sleep. In one of these clearings, you come upon a pool of water, shallow and perfectly still. It reflects the sky so clearly that for a moment, you feel suspended, walking between two heavens, one above and one below. You kneel at its edge, though you do not mean to. You touch its surface, and the ripples expand outward, soft and slow. The sound of the ripple fades quickly, replaced by something smaller, the tap of a single drop falling from a branch. Then another. Then silence again. You stand and keep moving. The forest thickens and thins like breath. You do not count time. It has no meaning here. Eventually, a warm light appears through the trees, a glow, golden and low, flickering like a memory. You follow it without thinking, your body gliding forward as though it knows the way. The light leads you to another cottage, smaller than the first, round like a seed pod tucked into the base of a hill. Its windows are soft with candlelight, and smoke rises from its stone chimney in a loose spiral that disappears into the trees. You open the small gate. It doesn't creak. The garden path is made of smooth stones and lined with thyme and sage. The herbs release their scent as you pass, brushing them gently with your legs. The door is already open. No one waits inside, and yet it feels as though someone has just left the room for you. The hearth glows. A cup of tea steams on the table. The chair is turned slightly toward the fire. You sit again. The warmth returns. The scent of chamomile floats through the air like an old tune. You breathe deeper. Your hands relax. Your shoulders are no longer holding anything. Your back sinks into the curve of the chair. Through the small, round window, you can see the edge of Elder Lane, the fog wrapping around it like ribbon, soft and endless. You are not separate from the story. You are the story. And it does not need to end. It simply continues, breath by breath, cloud by cloud, moment by moment. Everything moves. Everything rests. A sacred stillness. And you, resting beneath the tree on the knoll, are part of it now. No longer separate. No longer seeking. Just here. Just still. Just floating. The bench beneath the old oak no longer creaks. It simply holds you, still and certain, like an anchor in a sea of hush. The tree above sways gently in rhythm with the breeze, and its branches stretch long shadows across the meadow, painting the grass with lines that blur and shift with each breath of wind. Your eyes remain closed, though your senses are open in the quietest way. You feel the warmth of where your body rests, the cool touch of evening air on your face, and somewhere in the distance, the soft call of a nightjar, low and steady like the ticking of a faraway clock that no longer matters. The world folds around you, not tightly, but loosely, like a well-worn quilt. The clouds above return, drifting in slow procession, dimming the stars with their silken layers. You do not notice the change. Your body is here, but your thoughts drift elsewhere, pulled by the gentle tide of the night. You find yourself walking again, though you do not remember standing. The field is behind you now. The trees ahead rise like quiet sentinels, tall and unmoving. Their trunks are wide and dark, but not unfriendly. They welcome you with silence, parting gently to let you through. The forest floor is thick with pine needles and soft earth. Your feet make no sound. Moonlight filters through the canopy in thin silver ribbons, like threads laid across a dark cloth. The air is cool and scented, resin, moss, and something older, something that cannot be named. You follow the winding path, though there are no markers, no signs. The way forward feels known, even if you have never walked it. You pass under arches of fern and into narrow corridors where the branches lean in close, and then out again into open spaces where the trees give way to clearings filled with dew-sparkled grass. Worn smooth by time. You sit there, and it creaks in agreement, like it has waited years for you to return. The view from the knoll reveals more than just the field. In the distance, rooftops peek from the fog, chimneys lean slightly in the wind, and faint golden lights flicker from windows that face the road. Elder Lane winds through them all, disappearing and reappearing, like a ribbon forgotten between pages of a story that no longer needs telling. You lean back. The bench shifts a little beneath your weight, then settles. The tree above you rustles, not with wind, but with the soft conversation of leaves speaking in sleep. You don't try to understand. You don't need to. It's enough to listen, to feel the rhythm of the night beneath your skin. A small bird calls once. Then silence. Then a sigh from the grass, as if it too is exhaling with you. The moon casts shadows that move slowly across the field, and in one of them, a fox curls up in the grass, its tail wrapped around its nose. It sleeps peacefully, its breath barely stirring the blades around it. You begin to drift again, not fully, not deeply yet, but you can feel it. The weight of your arms, the looseness in your spine, the soft blur of your thoughts beginning to dissolve like sugar in tea. Behind your closed eyes, the world continues. The bench. The field. The lane. Nothing fades. Nothing vanishes. It all just softens. Even your name, even your memories, begin to feel like smooth stones in your pocket, present, but not needed. You let them be. Somewhere behind you, the wind turns. Not sharp. Not cold. Just different, carrying a new scent, something like distant pine, or rain that hasn't fallen yet. The air shifts with it, and you inhale without thinking, letting it fill your chest and settle deep in your belly like a promise. The clouds pass over the moon again. The light dims, not into darkness, but into something deeper, something like the space between thoughts, the pause between heartbeats. This is not a moment in time. This is a place outside of time. This is Elder Lane. And here you remain, resting, held, unfinished, and perfectly so. Somewhere beyond the sundial grove, the fog thickens once more, not with weight, but with comfort, like the hush of snow or the wrap of a thick wool blanket. You rise slowly, the moss still holding the print of your rest, and begin to walk again, your feet sinking gently into the damp softness beneath. The path is no longer distinct. It weaves through the mist and disappears, then finds itself again a few steps ahead. But it doesn't matter. Every direction feels like the right one. Every step feels like coming home. A willow tree arches low, its long, silvered tendrils brushing the ground like curtains drawn in slow motion. You step through them, and on the other side, the world is quieter still. The air here hums with something old, older than the village, older than the stones, older than memory. You feel it in your ribs, in the small of your back, in the soft skin behind your ears. It doesn't speak. It simply is. And you walk with it beside you, not needing to understand, only to exist with it. The landscape opens again. A wide meadow spills out before you like a forgotten lullaby. The grass moves in waves, undisturbed by your presence, as if it too is asleep and dreaming. You walk along the gentle ridges, dipping in and out of pockets of wildflowers, pale blue, soft violet, buttery yellow. They nod as you pass, as if acknowledging your stillness with their own. Above, the sky stretches into forever. The clouds are fewer now, their edges lit by moonlight, trailing long and slow like threads across velvet. The stars are watching, not with intensity, but with patience, small, steady lights that expect nothing, ask nothing, only offer presence. A small rise in the field leads to a knoll where a single tree stands, a crooked oak, weathered and sprawling. Beneath it, a wooden bench sits with its back to the wind. You follow the creek, letting its whisper guide you. It speaks without words, in rhythms and pauses, like poetry told in silence. Soon, the path opens into a grove filled with soft, waving grasses. A low stone wall circles the space, its edges worn smooth by wind and time. At the center stands an old sundial, though the moonlight casts no shadow from its needle. Time is not measured here. You lie down in the grass beside the wall, the earth warm beneath you. Above, the trees stretch into the sky, their branches laced together like threads in a dream catcher. Through them, stars peek through, 1,000 tiny lights that seem to pulse in rhythm with your breath. The grass cradles your body. The wind strokes your skin. You are held. In the distance, a bell chimes once. Not a sharp sound, but round and soft, as though struck gently by a hand that meant only to say, "You are safe." Somewhere far away, an animal stirs in the underbrush, but it does not disturb you. Its movement belongs to the same world as your stillness. Everything here is part of a greater quiet. Even the things that move slowly, as though remembering not to wake the earth too quickly. The sundial reflects the moon now, a soft mirror in stone. You watch it without watching, your eyes half-lidded, your thoughts scattered like seeds in tall grass. A breeze stirs again, curling around your fingers, wrapping around your shoulders like a shawl spun from the night itself. It carries the scent of wild mint and cedar, cool and dry and perfect. You turn your face toward the stars and exhale. There is nothing left to carry. You've set it all down. Everything. Behind your closed eyes, you see not darkness, but color, soft lavender, warm gold, the faded green of memory. Sounds become colors. Colors become weightless. Everything becomes a lullaby. You drift. You are not asleep, not yet. But you are not awake either. You are floating, between breaths, between clouds, between the edges of anything defined. Somewhere in your dream, a door swings open to a garden full of white blossoms. You walk barefoot on soft grass, the petals brushing your skin, and you pause to look at the stars. The night accepts you as its own. You are not merely visiting Elder Lane. You are a part of it now. You wander the garden of white blossoms, not hurriedly, but as if your footsteps have always belonged here, between petals and shadows, along paths that never needed names. The moon hangs high, illuminating the dew-touched flowers that nod gently in your passing, as if they too are settling in for rest. Each bloom seems to glow from within, pale as silk and still as breath. The scent is soft, like rain on stone, like clean linen, like something forgotten but safe. You close your eyes for a moment, and the world does not change. It simply breathes with you. At the edge of the garden stands a narrow wooden gate. Its latch is rusted and delicate, but it opens with a whisper. Beyond it lies another path, this one covered in moss and scattered with fallen leaves. You step through without a sound, the moss cushioning your steps like thick velvet. The trees here grow close together, tall and gentle, their trunks silvered with age, their roots winding deep into the cool earth. The path curves in soft spirals, leading you somewhere without saying where. You don't need to know. You don't want to know. The journey itself is enough. The quiet between trees, the hush of the wind, the sense that the world is holding its breath in reverence. A tiny creek appears, so narrow it can be crossed in a single step, but you pause beside it anyway. Its water is clear and slow, gliding over pebbles that glint faintly in the starlight. A leaf drifts along the current, spinning slowly, never touching either side. It moves the way your thoughts do now, effortlessly, freely, with nowhere to arrive. A fox trots silently across the lane, its paws barely disturbing the dew-drenched grass. It pauses, nose lifted to the breeze, then continues into the trees, where the night stretches infinitely beyond the birches and pines. Further down the path, past the meadow and the orchard and the pond, the sky begins to turn a shade deeper. Not morning yet, just that moment before dawn thinks to stretch. The stars twinkle more clearly now, no longer hidden by clouds, but softly scattered like frost across a vast midnight field. And there, in a small glade lit only by moonlight, another bench rests beneath a sycamore tree. No one sits on it. No one needs to. It waits, just as everything waits on Elder Lane, with patience, with stillness, without need or worry or expectation. Back in the cottage, the chair creaks faintly as your weight shifts in sleep. The blanket hugs closer, and your face settles into a quiet smile. The kind that comes from dreams where nothing happens, and yet everything feels right. Perhaps you are walking the path again in your dream. Perhaps you are sitting beneath the willow by the pond. Perhaps you are floating just above the treetops, your body weightless, carried on the breath of the world. Wherever you are, there is no edge, no boundary. The story does not require a plot. Only presence. Only warmth. Only clouds floating. Even the fire seems to breathe now, embers pulsing in slow rhythm, mirroring the rise and fall of your chest, the beating of your heart, the lullaby of wind beyond the walls. Time bends in Elder Lane. There are no clocks that tick, no bells that chime. Only the sound of the world exhaling. And still, the clouds move. Above the cottage. above the orchard, above your dream self resting beneath the trees, above the whole lane, held in silence and sleep. The sky brightens, but not with sunrise. Only the moon climbing higher, tracing silver light across the tops of elms and oaks and rooftops with slow fingers. It swirls along the window panes, wraps around the porch railings, kisses the ivy that climbs the walls. And above it all, the clouds drift, illuminated from below by the sleepy glow of the village, and from above by the pale hush of moonlight. They carry no storms, no urgency, no edge, only stillness. Only the long exhale of a world at peace. You do not remember falling asleep. You only remember sinking, deeper and deeper, into the warm folds of the chair, into the firelight, into the embrace of Elder Lane itself. And even as dreams begin to bloom behind your closed eyes, the world outside goes on. Lanterns flicker, leaves settle, and clouds float gently over Elder Lane. Somewhere outside the quiet cottage, the fog thickens like wool. It hugs the corners of the porch, rolls gently over the low stone steps, and slides beneath the garden gate, weaving itself through the roots of trees and the slow-turning petals of night-blooming flowers. The clouds above are vast now, stretched wide and endless, their movement so gradual that only the passage of time itself notices. Inside, the fire dims, glowing like the heart of a lantern buried in soft ash. Shadows pool gently in the corners of the room, not in darkness, but in comfort. They wrap around shelves and old wooden beams, around dried herbs that hang quietly from the ceiling, and around your resting body, folded peacefully into the warmth of the chair. The blanket slips just slightly as your chest rises and falls. Each breath is deeper than the last, yet softer, too, like the breeze through lace curtains, like a lullaby you don't remember learning but still know by heart. Outside, the old wind chime stirs once, a soft tinkling of hollow tones. Then it's still again. Beyond the windows, Elder Lane lies completely still. Not silent, but deeply, beautifully quiet. The kind of quiet that holds sound within it, like a memory pressed between the pages of an old book. Somewhere not far from the cottage, revealing a small path lined with flat river stones, leading toward a tiny cottage with a thatched roof and pale blue shutters. The windows glow with amber light. A soft trail of wood smoke curls from the chimney, carried on the breeze like a story being told by air itself. You approach slowly, as if remembering the place before you've even reached the door. You do not knock. The door is already open, slightly ajar, as if the night expected you. Inside, everything is warm and still. Wooden beams line the ceiling, and shelves are filled with old books and jars of herbs, dried lavender bundled with twine, a teapot steaming on a cast iron stove. A low fire crackles in the hearth, throwing light in soft arcs across the room. A chair rests by the fire, its cushion deep and inviting, and beside it, a wool blanket folded with care. You sit. The blanket comes over your shoulders like it has always known you. The fire breathes a gentle warmth into the room, and the shadows it casts are soft and slow, curling like the branches of sleeping trees. Outside, the fog thickens, but it does not feel cold. It wraps the house in a quiet curtain, muffling every sound but the soft sigh of wind and flame. You can no longer hear the river or the leaves or the far-off owl. There is only this room, this warmth, this slow turning of time. A book lies open on the table. The words shift and flow like water. You do not need to read them. You feel their meaning in the rhythm of your breath, in the heaviness of your eyes, in the way your heart has quieted. The chair leans back just slightly. The cushion holds your shape. The fire continues its slow dance. There is nothing else to do, nowhere else to be. Your mind is floating now, like the mist beyond the window. The thoughts that once filled the corners of your mind are gone, replaced by stillness, by softness, by breath. The fog outside moves like a living thing, gentle, curious, calm. The clouds part just enough to reveal a scattering of stars, so many, and yet so quiet. Their light takes centuries to reach you, and yet it feels as close as breath. They do not blink or flicker. They pulse, steady and strong, like the earth itself breathing under you. Your eyes begin to close without effort. Your body rocks with the swing's rhythm. The sounds of the forest, the village, the sky, all fold into one soft murmur. It is a language you do not need to understand. It is enough to feel it wash over you. And as your thoughts drift like petals caught in a slow current, you feel yourself slip gently deeper, into the earth, into the quiet, into the cloud-soft dream that is Elder Lane at night. You are not gone. You are not lost. You are simply resting. And the world, in its endless tenderness, continues to cradle you. The swing comes to a gentle stop, and you sit for a while longer, your body barely touching the earth, suspended in a hush that feels older than memory. The grass beneath the great tree glows faintly under the moon, and around you, the clearing holds a quiet so complete that even the smallest sounds, a twig shifting, a leaf falling, the distant flutter of wings, seem to echo. Eventually, your feet return to the ground softly. You rise not with urgency but with a calm ease, as though waking from a gentle dream only to find yourself walking deeper into another. The air has cooled, just slightly, and the fog that had once curled around the orchard now begins to spill gently into the meadow beyond. You follow it. The path is no longer made of stones or planks, but of soft earth now, padded with moss and fallen leaves. It weaves through tall grasses that sway like lullabies in motion, each blade brushing against your legs like the gentlest of touches. Fireflies drift beside you, silent, golden, and their light makes the mist shimmer like stardust scattered across the land. Ahead, a narrow gate swings open on quiet hinges. It welcomes without words. The moon reflects perfectly in its depths, and nearby cattails rustle just once as a frog plops gently into the water. Ripples move outward, wide and slow, before everything settles again. Even the frogs here seem to croak with more softness, as if honoring the silence rather than breaking it. You pause at the pond's edge, your reflection dim and blurred by mist and moonlight. Your face holds no tension now. Your shoulders have loosened. Every step you've taken down Elder Lane has carried away a weight you hadn't realized you were holding. Now, there is only the quiet of the night, the soft exhale of the wind, the hush of sleeping trees. A wooden footpath appears, winding gently into a grove of birch trees. The planks creak underfoot, not with protest, but as though whispering their own lullaby. Their surface is damp with dew, but steady. Beneath the birches, the air changes, cooler, wrapped in the green scent of moss and bark. A gentle hoot from a nesting owl echoes, low and rhythmic, a heartbeat in the darkness. As you move through the grove, the world narrows and calms even more. The forest on either side holds its breath, and you begin to forget what it felt like to rush. There is no urgency here. Only stillness. Only the next breath. Only the curve of the path, always leading forward but never demanding pace. You emerge from the grove into a wide clearing, blanketed in clover and low flowers that shine faintly under the moon's tender gaze. There, in the middle of it all, is a single wooden swing tied to the branch of a great old tree. It sways slightly, though there is no one on it, and no wind to move it. It creaks once, and then stills. You sit. The swing holds you gently, as though it remembers everyone who has ever rested here. You push off softly, and the swing moves, slow, slow, slow. The stars blink overhead. The grass whispers below. And for a moment, everything feels suspended in air and light, in motion and rest, in being and becoming. With each breath, your body feels lighter, your mind quieter, as if you are becoming one with the night itself. The clouds above continue their slow journey across the sky, endless and serene, guiding you gently toward a place where sleep comes easily, softly, without effort. And as you walk, the path becomes softer beneath your feet, the world around you fading gently into the quiet embrace of dreams. The moon now stands high above Elder Lane, its light diffused through a gauzy veil of clouds that drift like thoughts dissolving before they form. The night is deep and slow, like a warm sea holding you just beneath its surface, suspending you in perfect stillness. Every breath you take is quieter now, and the village around you lies nestled in sleep, the world shrinking to the gentle rhythm of wind and sky. Your footsteps barely sound on the cobblestones, cushioned by a thin mist that has begun to settle across the lane. The mist curls around your ankles, cool and light, catching the soft glow of old lanterns that flicker along garden paths. They burn low, their golden light pooling on ivy-covered gates and crooked fences, painting shadows like brushstrokes on a watercolor canvas. You pass a low stone wall, and beyond it, a sloping orchard bathed in silver. The apple trees are still, their boughs heavy with fruit, their leaves unmoving. A thin ribbon of fog coils between them, and fireflies rise lazily from the tall grass. It is the kind of night where even the wind forgets its hurry, and time becomes something that doesn't need to be measured. Somewhere behind a cottage window, a soft candle glows. You imagine the room within, wooden floors, old books stacked beside a kettle still warm, perhaps a cat curled into the hollow of a chair. The thought is comforting, like the memory of something you never truly lived, but always knew was waiting for you. Further along, you come upon a pond, round and still, its surface smooth as glass. Standing there, you listen to the water's soothing song, the gentle ripples and soft splashes blending with the whispering wind and distant calls of night birds. The sky above deepens into velvet darkness, stars twinkling faintly through the drifting clouds. The moon hangs low, a silver lantern illuminating the path ahead with a tender glow. You breathe in deeply, the calm of the night filling every corner of your being, as your eyelids grow heavier, fluttering like the wings of a moth in slow motion. Here, beneath the quiet sky of Elder Lane, you are wrapped in stillness. Cradled gently by the earth, the breeze, and the slow dance of clouds overhead. Beneath the soft glow of the moon, the path of Elder Lane winds gently onward, each step guided by the tender light and the quiet pulse of the night. The air is filled with the delicate scent of damp earth and blooming jasmine, mingling with the faint rustle of leaves stirred by a gentle breeze that seems to carry away every lingering thought and worry. Ahead, the ancient trees form a protective canopy, their branches intertwining like the arms of old friends embracing you in a quiet, timeless welcome. Shadows dance softly on the ground, shifting with the sway of the branches, while above, the clouds float like slow-moving dreams, their edges glowing faintly in the moonlight. The distant hoot of an owl echoes through the trees, a soothing reminder of the peacefulness that blankets this quiet place. Somewhere nearby, the gentle trickle of a stream adds its own melody to the night, a liquid lullaby that invites your mind to drift and your body to relax deeper into the earth. You pause beneath a flowering dogwood tree, its pale blossoms shimmering softly, their petals like whispers against the night sky. A cool breeze brushes your cheek, carrying with it the scent of lavender and sage, and for a moment, you close your eyes to simply be, to breathe in the serenity of this place, the stillness of Elder Lane. Sinking into its familiar comfort as the clouds drift overhead, slow and weightless. The night sky deepens to a rich indigo, sprinkled with countless stars that seem to hum softly in the stillness. A faint, distant owl calls once more, its melody weaving into the fabric of the night. You listen, letting the sound carry you further into a state of calm and peace. Time loses meaning here. There is no rush, no hurry. Only the gentle flow of moments unfolding like petals in a quiet bloom. Your thoughts soften and scatter like leaves on a gentle stream, dissolving into the vast, tender space that surrounds you. In this place, wrapped in the cool embrace of Elder Lane, you find yourself drifting. Slowly, deeply, endlessly, into the warm, peaceful ocean of sleep. The soft earth beneath Elder Lane cushions your footsteps as you rise from the worn wooden bench, the night air cool but gentle against your skin. Each breath you take draws in the subtle sense of moss and wildflowers, mingling with the distant hum of crickets beginning their nightly serenade. Above you, the clouds continue their slow drift, shifting softly in the silver glow of the moon, like quiet ships sailing a calm sea. You step forward once more, the path curling gently ahead, lined with ancient stone walls cloaked in ivy and delicate ferns that sway with the evening breeze. The quiet sounds of the village fade behind you, replaced by the soft murmur of a nearby brook, its water shimmering under the moonlight as it weaves its way through the sleeping landscape. A pair of deer emerges silently from the trees, their eyes reflecting the faint light as they pause and watch you pass with gentle curiosity before disappearing again into the shadows. The world feels untouched here, suspended in a moment between waking and dreaming. You find yourself drawn toward a small wooden bridge arching over the brook, its aged planks worn smooth by countless footsteps long since faded. And your thoughts drift like the clouds above, slow, light, and free. The sky begins to shimmer with the faint glow of distant stars, their gentle twinkle mirrored in your calm breath and steady heartbeat. Each moment stretches, unhurried and infinite, inviting you to surrender fully to the quiet night. With each breath, you feel yourself becoming lighter, more at ease, as if you are floating just above the earth, carried gently by the soft wind. The clouds overhead continue their silent voyage, serene and endless, guiding you toward the peaceful embrace of sleep. And so you remain, wrapped in the gentle night of Elder Lane, drifting ever deeper into the soft, warm ocean of dreams. The stars above shimmer quietly, their silver light filtering through the branches of ancient elms that line Elder Lane. Each leaf seems touched by moonbeams, glowing faintly like tiny lanterns suspended in the cool night air. The breeze stirs gently, carrying with it the soft scent of honeysuckle and damp earth, wrapping you in a fragrant, calming embrace. Your breath deepens, slow and even, matching the steady rhythm of the world around you. In the distance, the faint murmur of a creek blends with the rustle of leaves, creating a soothing symphony that eases your mind. The path beneath you feels smooth and cool, comforting your every step as you move forward with quiet ease. As you walk, the gentle glow of fireflies appears, flickering softly like tiny stars come down to dance in the tall grass. Their light weaves through the shadows, casting a warm, golden shimmer that invites you to pause and simply breathe. You close your eyes briefly, feeling the delicate pulse of the night beating in harmony with your own heart. Slowly, you continue along the lane, the quiet world unfolding gently around you. An old wooden bench sits beneath a sprawling oak, its surface worn smooth by years of visitors seeking rest. You settle there for a moment. The stars above twinkle quietly, their light steady and calm. You feel yourself drifting, weightless and slow, carried on the clouds' gentle journey across the sky. Your eyelids grow heavy, fluttering like delicate petals folding in the twilight. The sounds around you, leaves rustling, the distant river, the soft hum of insects, become a lullaby, a slow, soothing melody that carries you further and further away from the noise of the waking world. There is only peace here, only stillness, and the endless soft drift of the clouds above. And as you float there, beneath the vast sky of Elder Lane, you feel yourself sinking gently into sleep. Soft, deep, and endless. The gentle night deepens around you as the soft earth cradles your form beneath the canopy of Elder Lane. Every breath you take becomes slower, calmer, blending seamlessly with the quiet rhythm of the world settling into rest. Above, the clouds glide silently, their edges glowing faintly in the moonlight, casting soft shadows that dance lazily on the grass. The whisper of the breeze carries delicate scents, fresh pine mingled with the subtle sweetness of night-blooming flowers. Each inhalation draws these soothing fragrances deep into your lungs, filling you with a profound sense of calm. Around you, the tall elms sway gently, their leaves rustling in a slow, comforting murmur, like an ancient lullaby sung just for you. Far off, the soft croon of an owl punctuates the stillness, its gentle call weaving through the trees like a thread of silver light. Somewhere nearby, a stream murmurs quietly, water slipping over smooth stones with the effortless grace of a whispered secret. The sounds blend, crafting a symphony of peace that wraps around you like a warm shawl. As your body relaxes more fully, the cool grass beneath you feels like a natural mattress, supporting you perfectly as you sink deeper into rest. Your eyelids flutter softly, heavy with the promise of dreams. A steady rhythm that pulses like a heartbeat beneath the calm. The sky darkens gently, revealing the first twinkle of stars high above the drifting clouds. They shine softly, distant and gentle, like tiny lanterns lighting the path for your dreams. As you walk, the path narrows and the lane becomes lined with towering elms whose leaves rustle like soft whispers. The trees form a quiet canopy, filtering the moonlight into gentle beams that dance on the path ahead. The silver light catches on the edges of leaves and petals, turning them into delicate fragments of light floating in the dark. Your steps slow even more now, each one sinking softly into the earth, as though the lane itself is welcoming you to rest. The breeze carries the cool scent of pine and rain-washed stone, mingled with the faint hint of vanilla from a nearby cottage chimney. Somewhere close, a fireplace crackles, sending warm notes into the night air. You reach a small clearing where fireflies hover and twinkle, tiny stars flickering just above the grass. Their soft glow weaves around you like a gentle embrace, wrapping you in a blanket of light and shadow. The night feels alive, but safe, a quiet world that holds you tenderly. In this clearing, the clouds above pause, heavy and still, like great soft pillows resting in the darkening sky. They glow faintly with the reflection of the moon, a muted silver that seems to pulse with a slow, breathing rhythm. The clouds are your companions now, moving with you, floating just out of reach but close enough to comfort. You lie down in the soft grass, feeling the cool earth beneath you, steady and strong. The blades press gently against your skin, cool and whisper soft, as the breeze moves over you, carrying the scent of lavender and chamomile. Your body sinks deeper into the embrace of the earth, every muscle relaxing, every thought softening. A song of peace that fills the space between moments. As you continue walking, the lane curves gently, and the village feels even quieter. The windows of the cottages are dim, curtains drawn softly as the world outside breathes in the last moments before night. The scent of fresh bread lingers faintly from a nearby bakery, mingling with the earthy smell of damp moss and fallen pine needles. A small wooden bench rests beneath an ancient oak, its surface smooth from years of use. You pause for a moment and sit, feeling the rough grain beneath your hands, grounding you to the earth. The sky above is a shifting sea of clouds, slowly turning from pale blue to soft gray, with hints of pink just at the horizon. Time seems to stretch here, as if it has forgotten how to move too fast. The gentle ticking of an old clock somewhere far away marks the passage of moments, steady and unhurried. In the distance, the sound of a church bell tolls once, deep and clear, its echo drifting softly through the village. Your breath grows slower, deeper, matching the rhythm of the world around you. Each inhale brings in the clean, calming air. Each exhale lets go of tension and worry. You feel lighter, as if the lane itself is carrying you forward, cradling you in its quiet embrace. Further down Elder Lane, lanterns begin to glow softly, casting pools of golden light on the cobblestones. Their warm glow flickers gently in the evening breeze, inviting you onward like old friends guiding your way. The light touches the faces of sleeping flowers, painting them in shades of amber and honey. You pass a small garden where roses bloom with velvet petals, their fragrance subtle but sweet. The petals seem to close slowly, folding inward like a whispered secret as the night deepens. Nearby, a cat stretches and yawns, then curls back into a tight, contented ball, its purr a soft vibration that hums through the quiet. The air is filled with the sound of crickets beginning their evening song. You pass a low fence covered in vines, and beyond it, a garden where tall sunflowers bow gently under the weight of sleep. Bees hum low and lazy, not working, just drifting. The garden gate is half open, swaying slightly. It doesn't ask you to come in. It just waits, like everything else on Elder Lane. You keep walking slower now. Not because you're tired, but because each step feels sacred. As though you are not just walking a path, but entering a dream that was waiting for you to arrive. Above, the clouds float without sound, without shape, only softness. And the wind wraps around you like a blanket made of breath. The clouds drift steadily above, vast and slow, their edges soft like feathers pressed against the pale sky. Each one moves without hurry, rolling lazily as though the whole world had paused to watch them wander. Beneath this gentle sky, Elder Lane stretches quietly between fields of waving grass and clusters of old trees, their leaves murmuring stories carried on the breeze. Your footsteps leave no trace on the smooth stones. With every step, the weight of the day begins to lift, replaced by a soothing calm that spreads from your heart out to your fingers and toes. The air is cool but comforting, filled with the faint sweetness of wildflowers and the distant hum of a slow-moving river hidden somewhere just beyond the tall hedges lining the lane. To your left, a narrow stream winds its way beneath a small wooden bridge, its water whispering softly over smooth stones and fallen leaves. The sound is gentle, like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. Dragonflies hover near the surface, their delicate wings catching the light as they move in slow, lazy circles. Near the bridge, a willow tree leans low, its long branches swaying and dipping just enough to touch the water. The leaves ripple like silk in the breeze, and if you listen closely, you might hear the faintest laughter hidden in their rustling. It is a laughter without words. You do not know how long you've been lying there. Time here does not pass. It settles. It rests. It rocks you gently like a tide, a hush and slow rhythm, like breathing earth. The rug beneath you no longer feels separate from your skin. The cottage around you no longer feels like a room, it feels like a thought. And you, drifting within it, are softer than shadow, lighter than wind. Outside the window, the fog begins to lift, just slightly. Not to reveal. Not to wake. Only to let the stars peek through one last time, like old friends checking in. They blink slowly, and then they wait. And then, they dim. Somewhere down Elder Lane, a wind chime stirs once. Just once. And then stillness again. Inside, your breath deepens, the last waking thought dissolving like sugar in warm milk. No words remain. No story left to follow. Only the feeling that everything has returned home. The lantern goes out. The sky holds you. And the clouds, faithful as always, float on. Quietly. Gently. Endlessly. Over Elder Lane. Sleep well.